Hi, my name's Ashley, and today I'm going to be talking about effective communication in an academic setting, in a higher education setting specifically. And I will be referring to my experience as an undergraduate student, a graduate student, and a future educator myself. And this can be used in terms of how educators communicate with their students and how educators communicate with fellow faculty members to establish curriculum and to solve any other problem that may arise within an education atmosphere. So the first tip that I would have that I've learned throughout my experience is to listen. Listening is a key factor in a communication setting, and we should always go into a conversation with the intention to both give and receive information. A conversation is a two-way street, and it's not always easy to remember that. But if we can keep that in our minds throughout the entire conversation, that we're meant to be intaking information as well as exporting it, then that establishes a more comforting environment for all those involved in the conversation. The second tip that I would have is to establish feedback, or to accept feedback from other people. And this can look in terms of taking accountability for when things aren't always up to par and looking for ways on how you as yourself can better your communication skills with other educators and other students. The third tip that I have is to be open. And when I say this, I don't mean open in the sense that you are willing to jump on someone's throat when they are incorrect or you disagree with them. I mean so as don't be afraid to express your different opinion or express another way of doing something, but do so in a way that is considered polite and productive for the conversation. I believe that you should always go into a conversation or a disagreement specifically with the incentive to educate rather than to belittle. The last tip that I have would be to accept responsibility and apologize when you're wrong. And for me personally, this is a struggle, but it's something that I plan on working on throughout my time as an educator, is when we're not always right, I'm not always going to be right, and when someone calls me out on it and has proof that I am incorrect, it is important to take accountability to show that you are willing to grow and you are willing to work with people to make a more comfortable educational environment. So why is education, higher education in particular, more challenging for communication from a communicational aspect? Well, you can look at it from the perspective of how I'm completing my master's degree at the moment, which is through an online setting. That on its own is going to have its own obstacles and things that aren't always going to be as easy as in-person setting. Like naturally, it's just faster to get a response from people when you're having a conversation in person rather than when you're having a conversation via email or through text message. And that's just the way it works, unfortunately, and is one obstacle that many can face within a higher education setting depending on how they plan on going through with that higher education. Another kind of barrier that people have to get through in a higher education setting is kind of like their comfort level on how to talk to people or who they feel comfortable talking to. And when I say this, I mean from a university or a higher education standpoint, education is kind of like the forefront of all of what is going on in that institution. Some people may feel inferior to other people based off of degree level, or education level, grade level, majors, just in general. If a person feels that they don't have up to par information on a topic, they may not feel comfortable discussing it. And that's just another barrier that I've noticed within a higher education standpoint. And some of the ways that I plan on de-escalating issues or disagreements as they arise in an educational standpoint, whether it be with faculty or with students, would be to do or have your conversation, but have it in private. This makes it a more comfortable environment for both parties involved so that no one has to feel like they are being scrutinized by a large number of people. Another way I plan on de-escalating is just to be open and honest with people and be respectful of other people's thoughts and opinions in comparison to my own. But those are my tips and tricks on how to communicate effectively in higher education, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. All right, bye.